Hi everyone, this is Frank DeMore, and today is May 16th, 2013. For those of you that have been coming to my YouTube channel, you know that I've posted many videos warning you every single year to watch for the prices of food to go up, and there's many reasons for it. In many of my videos, I've cited the change in weather patterns or global warming and how it has a chain reaction and affects the crops and also has a huge impact on the livestock around the world. Now, just to show you that the cost of living is going up, or the cost of food is going up, just like I've been telling you, and the reason why I've been telling you this is based not only on what we're seeing around the world as far as global warming, but mainly because of what Jesus states to us in the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 6. So let me read what the Lord had to say. And this is what he said. And I heard the voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou, and hurt not the oil in the wine. Now, a measure, when we look at Revelation 6:6, is actually translated from the Greek word koinex, which is a dry measure of less than a quart and closer to a liter, if you will. Now, a penny in Revelation 6:6 is used for the Latin word denarius, which was a Roman silver coin that was accepted as the equivalent of an ordinary pay for, get this, for a day's wages. Now, when in Revelation 6:6 it talks about a measure of wheat, and this weighs roughly between 7 and 8 ounces, approximately a half a pound, which would produce about a half of a loaf to 1 complete loaf of bread. This is for one person. 1 meal a day. Just for one person. And so you know that the conditions that we're seeing now are the birth pain conditions of what Jesus told us to look for. And we're starting to see that. And every year, the price of food is skyrocketing. Not only are the price of food skyrocketing, but we're seeing that the atmospheric pressures are changing, the rains are changing, those patterns, the droughts are getting more extensive, insects are starting to munch up on the plants. There's a lot of causes that are causing destruction of both the plants and the animals. Many of you who've been here have seen many of the reports that I've been putting up about the bird flu and how the bird flu is just wreaking havoc in many of the nations around the world, and they're killing hundreds of thousands of birds, and it spreads to different areas. So the article that I'm presenting to you today from NBC News, the headline reads, Food Supplies Under Assault as Climate Heats Up. Now also keep in mind that in the book of Revelation, and as well as Mark chapter 13, Luke chapter 21, and Matthew chapter 24, all talk about droughts. They talk about the pestilence and famines. And as I said, we're definitely in the birth pangs of those warnings. Look what it says here in this article. It says, American eaters. Let's talk about the birds and the bees. The U.S. food supply from chickens injected with arsenic to dying bee colonies is under unprecedented siege from a blitz of man-made hazards, meaning some of your favorite treats someday may vanish from your plate, experts say. Now, warmer and moisture air ringing much of the planet, punctuated by, here we go, one of the signs that the Lord told us to look for, droughts in other locales is threatening the prime ingredients in many daily meals, including the maple syrup on your morning pancakes and the salmon on your evening grill, as well as the wine in your glass and the chocolate on your dessert tray, according to the recent studies. Now, at the same time, an unappetizing bacterial outbreak in Florida citrus groves, largely affecting the orange trees, is causing the fruit to turn bitter. Elsewhere, unappealing fungi strains are curtailing certain coffee yields and devastating some banana plantations, researchers report. Now, mixed with the atmospheric misfortunes snapping two mainstays of American farming, corn and cows, heavier than normal spring rains have put the corn crop far beyond schedule. Now, if you go back and look at my videos, I've been telling you exactly what's going to happen. I told you, watch the rain. The rain's going to wipe out the crops. Watch the heat. The heat's going to wipe out the crops. I'm always pointing to what the Lord tells us, what to look for. And it's happening. Only 28% of the cornfields have been planted this year, compared with 85% at this time in 2012, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And meanwhile, drought in the southeastern plains and poor hay yields have called the U.S. cattle and calf herd to its lowest since, get this, 1952. Now, let me just say this about that. Since 1952, the population has exploded. So now you have less food and you have more people, and you have a bad scenario there, because when you have less food, the price of that food goes up. And as more food is curtailed or lost, because whether it's from flooding or droughts or whatever, insect invasions, whatever, the prices will continue to go up. So it says levels since 1952, propelling the wholesale price of the USDA cut of the choice beef to a new high on May 3rd. Exactly what I told you was going to happen. Now, I didn't give you the exact date, but I did tell you, you will see the prices go up, and that's what's going up. And the reason why I'm telling you this again is because Jesus points to bad situations in Revelation 6:6. We know that from Revelation 6:6. Now, going on, it says, this choice beef to a new high on May 3rd, $201.68 per 100 pounds, eclipsing the old mark of $201.18 from October 2003, the USDA reports. Now, it says that we are in the midst of a dramatic assault on the security of the food supply. This isn't anything new to anybody that knows the word of the Lord. Not at all. We are expecting this to happen, and hopefully those that know the word of the Lord are preparing for exactly what's coming. So let me move down a little bit. It says the primary culprit of all this menu mayhem is the climate change, which is choking off certain crops already weakened by genetic tinkering and chemically based farming, some experts contend. The agricultural history is, of course, laced with tales of crop-munching bug swarms. Like I've been telling you, watch, and again, I'm going to warn you, watch what's going to happen in the summer. We're already seeing massive swarms in Egypt and Israel. Locusts, huge locusts. So big swarms of dirt, baking droughts, which I already covered. That's in, again, warnings from the Lord, leading to famous regional famines. Everything that we see here, Christ mentions in His Word. So it goes on to say, the paleontologists have even urged that the hanging gardens in ancient Babylon dried up because the people messed with the microclimate by slashing too many trees, overexpanding farm yields, and exhausting the water supply, Lawrence said. So there are presidents, but they're all been local, and people just abandoned those areas and moved on, he added. What's very sobering about the situation today, this is global, and there isn't any other place to go on this spaceship Earth. We need to regard all of these examples as very powerful motivator to try to work on the carbon emissions, to start pushing the parts per million of carbon dioxide back down. And you can see here some of these pictures here of the endangered food around the world. And as a matter of fact, let me show you some of the pictures here. Hopefully this will drive the point home. And this is a crop duster plane. You can see that it's trying to protect 7,000 hectares of banana plantation. And this is in the Philippine Islands. The citrus industry tries to find a cure for the disease. The grapes that are being affected. This is in France. Workers spraying the fungicides in the coffee plantations. We see the bee population dying off. In Newberry, New Hampshire, they're dealing with the maple syrup problem. Employee of the cocoa expert company empties cocoa sacks. And of course the cocoa has been affected by the global changes. And of course the opposite of drought is too much rain. And in this part it says a soggy rain-soaked cornfield sits unplanted in the Farmingdale, Illinois. And we've been seeing a lot of flooding. And there's a lot of flooding right now in the middle of the United States, a massive, massive storm, flooding many, many places, destroying crops. And of course, many of you who've been coming to my YouTube channel know that the issue with bird flu is an issue that is spreading around many of the nations. In this particular picture, it says the chickens stand in their cages at the Maine contract farming, Thursday of July 1st, 2010, but we've had many, many problems. And I'm sure that you've seen many of the articles recently, especially in Asia, about the birds dying, and they're killing hundreds and thousands of birds. And of course the farming industry for cattle, major problem. And the wild Oregon coast, the salmon, problems with the salmon here. So that's a major, major deal when it comes to these last days. This is what the Lord said was going to happen, and it's happening. Now you can believe it, or you can just dump it off as being a coincidence. But before you dump it off, I'd like to at least invite you to go into my website, download my book, and read chapter 4, where it gives you all of the details, the facts, and the evidence, and all the proof you're ever going to need to show you that every single year food prices are skyrocketing. Every single year, the droughts, the intense heat, it seems like it's getting a lot worse. More flooding. And farming taking a huge hit, not only in America, but around the world. So listen to what the Holy Spirit is showing you today. Prepare for it, because I can guarantee, according to what we know from the Word of God, it's not going to get any better. We're in the midst of the birth pangs. Read Mark 13:8. That's what we know. So I'm trying to prepare the people so that when it happens, when it reaches your home, you'll be prepared for it. And it's already reaching many, many homes around the United States where they weren't bothered by it before because they were a rich nation. But now they have so many people out of work, and the conditions are so bad, and the cost of living is skyrocketing, that even in the people in the United States are having a hard time feeding their families. So could you imagine what's going on in the third world countries? We're well on our way into these birth pains. Get ready. I don't mean to scare anybody, but these are the words, these are the things that Jesus told us to watch for. And if it was important enough for him to tell us about the food and what was going to happen as a food crisis in the last days in relation to Revelation 6:6, you should be paying attention. God bless.